In The Godfather, the Corleone family lived here in what looked like a massive compound from which they ran an empire. But this was and is actually the home of the Norton family. The Nortons have lived here since 1951. It was a curious knock at the door back in 1970 that, for a time, changed their lives. Ed Norton III was in high school back then.
I do remember my mother telling the story that they knocked on the door and my father answered the door, and obviously they told him they were from Paramount and they wanted to film a movie, and she heard the door close and he came back into the living room and she said, "Who is that?" And he said, "Somebody from some movie company that wanted to film a movie." So she jumped up and she ran out, opened the door and said, "Wait, come back, come back."
For a year and a half, the Norton house, the entire neighborhood, became a Hollywood soundstage. The Nortons took pictures of it all. First came the construction crews. In the movie, the Corleone house appears to be more like a fort than a home. But you can see here, the gatehouse, the stone walls, a big chunk of which the Nortons kept, were all make-believe.
This is a piece of the original.
That's a piece of the original.
Once the set was ready, some of the world's most famous and soon-to-be famous actors arrived. Marlon Brando, James Caan, Al Pacino. During production, it seemed like they were part of the family.
They were all very down-to-earth, friendly people.
Although Luca Brasi, at first, was the tough guy on screen and off.
There's a famous Luca Brasi story that she tried to collect everybody's autograph, and she went out and asked him during the wedding scene. And he turned around to her and he said, "I don't sign single autographs, I only do 10 at a time." And she said, "You know, you're standing on my front lawn." He's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, okay."
Don Corleone, I am honored and grateful that you have invited me to your daughter's wedding.
And most of that wedding scene was shot in the Norton backyard.
It looked like a great party.
They, one of the things that we couldn't believe is they had the big wooden kegs full of wine. It was wine.
Yeah, real
They
wine.
just kept filling it up. Yeah, so they, as the day went on, it kept getting more and more like a wedding.
As for weddings, the Nortons would later follow the Corleones. Ed Norton's daughter was married in the backyard, and so was this girl, his niece Samantha, in the arms of Marlon Brando. Years later, she would have her own real-life wedding in the backyard as well.
Anybody ask you for a favor on the day of your daughter's wedding?
No, I intentionally didn't sit in the den.
Okay.
Walking these grounds for a serious Godfather fan is a little surreal. In front of the house, we see where Sonny throws a tantrum in front of the FBI. And in the backyard, Marlon Brando, the Don, philosophizes with Michael. Which brings us to perhaps the most eerie part of the tour. Brando, famously, wouldn't commit his lines to memory.
Ed, what is this?
This is one of the original cue cards from a very famous scene in the movie.
A cue card from Marlon Brando. These are his lines as he's talking to Michael in your backyard. "I never wanted this for you. I worked my whole life. I don't apologize."
I never wanted this for you. I worked my whole life. I don't apologize to take care of my family. And I refused to be a fool.
In the next scene, Brando's character dies, again in the Nortons' backyard.
Marlon Brando died in a tomato patch, right?
Correct.
And the tomato patch is now...
You're standing in it.
it's been modified to
A little bit.
a swimming pool.
Turned into a, yeah.
But almost everything else today is as it was in 1971 or the 1940s, depending on how you look at it.
My mother's condition was that when you leave, you put the yard back the way it was. So, and when they left, it looked like they were at a war here. I mean, it was really torn up, but they paid to have everything put back. And we got the pool out of it. So.
And some incredibly unique memories.